Data engineering bootcamps charge you thousands of dollars or lakhs of rupees. It starts from around $1,000 and it goes all the way up to $15,000 or even more in some cases, just for a few months. I've been a data engineer, I've hired a lot of data engineers, and let me tell you something, I've never looked at a bootcamp certificate. What I've seen is whether you can build a data pipeline that doesn't fall over at 3 a.m. So here is the complete roadmap, 100% free, 9 levels, every link on the screen. I'm Josh, and I've been in this data and AI space for more than 7 years now, currently working at DoorDash and an ex-Google. Let's go. First of all, let's kill that out. If you're going to invest like 6 months into something, you need to know whether it pays well. Let's start with World Economic Forum survey. From now to 2030, the highest growing job that they have listed, and this is a survey done across thousands of employers from 55 different economies. It's not a small subset. The number one job there is big data specialists. That is predicted to grow over 130% net from now to 2030. Basically, it's gonna double in size. And if you see data warehousing specialists, they are in the top 10 as well. In United States, levels.fyi, median data engineer total compensation $160,000, Google $271, Amazon $240. Let's talk about India this month. Average data engineer in product companies 22 lakhs, even higher median at around 50 lakhs at FANG companies. And trust me, reaching 1 crore mark is very common for senior and above roles in these kind of companies. So building the data layer that your AI runs on is the fastest growing job in the market right now. And the reason for that is there was a Gartner survey done, and they clearly highlighted that the companies whose AI initiatives actually succeed invest up to 4 times more in data foundations, quality, governance, pipelines, and people. Every company on earth wants AI, but a lot of them fail because their data is a swamp, and they hire you to drain it, to fix it, and to build it. Let's talk about you. 9 levels: prerequisites, Spark and Databricks, modeling and Snowflake, cloud, real-time, governance, MLOps, AI, and portfolio. Roughly around 6 to 9 months at 10 hours per week if you are starting from zero, but it's possible that you might be like already knowing a lot of these things, so it might be around 2 to 3 months for some people, or for some people it could also fall around 1 month. Rule for the whole video: do not move on to the next level until you have shipped at your current level. Watching videos is not building or learning. Level 1, SQL. Don't just know SQL, be dangerously good at this, because a lot of your interview loop consists of exactly this one skill. Whether it's window functions or CTEs or slowly changing dimension logics, whether it's just the ability to look at a query and say that, this is actually doing a full table scan, there are ways to optimize it. Start with SQL Bolt, interactive browser-based, free, about 2 hours to finish the core lessons. Then ThoughtSpot SQL tutorial. This used to be the famous Mode tutorial. Mode got acquired, so this is where it lives now. Basically, it talks about all the way through beginner to advanced real data sets. And for interview reps, Data Lemur and Strata Scratch, both with free banks pulled from real FANG loops. Benchmark to move on. For example, solve a medium or hard level problem on window functions or aggregates in 10 minutes without Googling or using ChatGPT, that is. Level 2. Now I need to set expectations here. You're not learning Python to build applications, you're writing Python to move data and make sure that other engineers are able to easily maintain it. What actually matters is files, API input-outputs, dictionaries and generators, error handling and retries, PyTest, typing, virtual environments, and enough object orientation to build a reusable data pipeline class. The best free path is CS50P from Harvard, full university course, free, and the problem sets are hard enough to be real. Or alternative is also Python for everybody. It's gentler, auto-graded, fantastic if you are coming from completely zero. Then there is also Automate for boring stuff. Now it's in 3rd edition, free online. This is where you learn to script. Now once you learn Python, the next step is to do problem solving. That's where data structures and algorithm comes in. I'm going to link a DSA roadmap in the description for you. And after you're done with that, you can go through LeetCode and just start grinding. You want to solve easy and medium level problems as long as it's not about dynamic programming. And before you ask, yes, DSA is part of the interview loop for most product-based data engineering roles. Level 3 is the one that a lot of people just skip, and it is the reason that why a lot of self-taught data engineers remain mid-level always. It is database fundamentals and operating system. Here is why it matters. When your Spark job fails or it suddenly starts taking 8 minutes instead of 8 seconds, or maybe you're running into an out of memory error at 3 AM in the morning, your general issue is not in the logic of the code, but it's often in the indexing or buffer pools or memory optimization or IO bound network optimization. And that's where you need to learn both of these things, database and operating system fundamentals, really well. Free and genuinely elite is this intro to database systems. Full lecture, slides, projects is completely free. For operating systems, there is OSTEP, which is 3 easy steps. Free textbook from Wisconsin. Read the chapters on processes, memory, and file systems. That's enough, not the entire thing. And MIT's missing semester. Shell, Git, debugging, tooling, 9 lectures. The 2026 edition even added a lecture on agentic coding. This is the stuff that nobody teaches and everybody assumes that you know. Level 4 is Spark, and the platform that most teams run Spark on, which is Databricks. Spark is how you process data that doesn't fit into one machine, learn the data frame API, understand the difference between a narrow and a wide transformation, learn what a shuffle costs you, and learn how to read the Spark UI. That last one is a whole new skill in itself. Start with the official Spark SQL guide, and then get your hands on a real cluster like Databricks Free Edition, which replaced the Community Edition a couple of years back. It's genuinely free, notebooks, workflows, Unity catalog, the actual product. If you want the credential, the Certified Data Engineer Associate is the one hiring managers recognize, $200, 90 minutes. Exam guide is free, so I would read the guide even if you never sit in the actual exam because it's a perfect syllabus. So why does Databricks matter a lot? It is not a core skill like Spark, it's just a tool, right? It has $5.4 billion worth of annual run rate. Over 800 customers spend over $1 million on Databricks platform. And one of the customers is DoorDash, where I work. So it's not a trend, it is literally an industry. Level 5, now this is the level that separates a mid-level data engineer versus a 6-figure level data engineer. It kind of promotes you from a script writer to a person who knows how to model the data. See, tools change, there are new technologies and frameworks that come out every couple of years, new languages also come out, but modeling bit hasn't changed in almost 30 years. Facts and dimensions, grains, slowly changing dimensions, star schema versus one big table, idempotency, late arriving data. So go straight to the source, Kimball's group of dimensional data modeling techniques, the actual official index, free, there's a PDF summary, you should print and pin above your desk as well. Then build it on a real warehouse. Snowflake gives you 30 days free trial, so you can just use your email and your phone number for that and then start getting an idea of what a true enterprise level data warehouse in today's world that is also AI enabled looks like. Their free training is at Snowflake University. Apart from that, they have Snowflake's developer guides to run end-to-end tutorials. Snowflake is also doing $1.3 billion in product revenue in just one quarter, up around like more than 30%, and over 779 customers have contracts with Snowflake for over $1 million a year. Again, DoorDash being one of them. And all of these companies, these 800, 900 organizations, these are essentially your job openings if you know Snowflake. Now let's talk about DBT. You asked, so I'm going to talk about it, but to be honest, I'm going to be completely candid. I don't think learning DBT anymore makes sense. It used to be the tool to write transformations. It was like the T in ELT or ETL. However, a lot of these frameworks, a lot of these data warehousing tools like Snowflake and BigQuery itself, they are coming up with their own query language that can transform data the way similarly that DBT does. And the second reason that I don't think it's relevant anymore is AI. Because the thing that DBT does, it's essentially a wrapper on your transformation that makes writing scripts or managing them easier. Isn't that what AI does already very well? Why do you need to learn DBT for that? So it's just my personal opinion. I don't think you should learn DBT in 2026 if you're learning data engineering. Level 6, it's cloud. You only need to master one, whether it's AWS or Azure or GCP. If you have not picked one, just blindly go with AWS because it has the largest market share, and in my opinion, it's the easiest one to learn. If I were to rank cloud in terms of my favorites, I would rank AWS and then GCP and then Azure, but obviously, different people have different takes. Azure is also used a lot in enterprise-heavy customers. GCP is used a lot in AI-specific workflows. For AWS, there's a completely free guide that you can use for different certificates by Free Code Camp on YouTube. And I would recommend that you go for Solutions Architect Associate Certificate if you have time and money to go for it. It's a really balanced certification that gives you a good idea of your AWS ecosystem as a whole. Obviously, for Azure and GCP, there are different certificates or courses that you can opt for. I'm going to link everything in the description. You can also check out AWS Skill Builder, which has like hundreds of courses, all completely for free. Level 7. Now this is your premium. You know those little features when you upgrade your car from base model to, I don't know, the topmost model, or maybe if you compare like iPhone 17 with iPhone 17 Pros, those little features that make a thing pro, that's what this streaming is, because batch market is saturated in data engineering. Real time is not, and it makes you a real pro data engineer. Kafka is the log. It basically is a queue that every event passes through. What are some important concepts that you should learn on it? Topics, partitions, offsets, customer groups, exact-event semantics, and schema registry, so that you don't break every downstream consumer on a Tuesday when your upstream schema changes. Confluent Developer is the best way to start Kafka education anywhere. Start with Kafka 101 and 16 modules, about 75 minutes. And the official docs is the next best place to learn Kafka in detail. Then Flink basically is something that you would use to take in those events that Kafka produced and then process and analyze it in real time. Now, it differs from Spark streaming in certain ways, and it's always faster option when you want a sub-second latency. Some of the most important concepts you should be aware of in Flink is windowing, joins over time, stateful processing, watermark for late data. Flink's now on version 2. You can go to official hands-on training as well. This is like Confluent 101 training, 21 modules, about 4 hours, which is completely free. Level 8. Two things that nobody puts on the roadmap, but every job, at least in the senior level, asks for: governance and MLOps. Governance doesn't mean the complier lawyer version, the data engineering version. That includes quality tests, lineage, catalogs, contracts between producers and consumers, and PII data handling. Great Expectations is great to learn for data quality. It's open source and it's kind of now stewarded by Fivetran. Open Metadata and Data Hub are great for catalog and lineage, both free, open source, and a lot of companies actually run on this. Then MLOps, because data engineer and ML platform engineers are converging real fast in this age of AI. I would recommend Made with ML by Goku Mohandas. It's free, best production grade ML course on the internet. Feature stores, testing, CI/CD for models, monitoring, everything. You can also check out Google's MLOps white paper, and a lot of interviews questions actually come from here directly. Now we're going to talk about the last level, level 9. If you made it this far, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This level is the actual differentiator. It's AI, generative AI. And I saved it in the very end for a very good reason, because I believe that AI makes a skilled engineer like 10x better, but it makes an unskilled engineer almost like unemployable. It's a perfect amplifier. Two things you need to know. First, how can you use AI to do your job? Agentic coding tools right now write your boilerplate DAGs and function codes and everything essentially. You only have to give some structural direction, you need to build a plan, you need to spec it, and for that I recommend going through this documentation. Second is the career move. Build the data layer that AI runs on. Know about what vector databases are, what embeddings are, how it can be fed into an AI agent, how can you do semantic search, how can you do the retrieval correctly. Now, deep learning has a lot of courses. Here are my top 5 picks. Number 1 is ChatGPT prompt engineering. Second is the LangChain course. Third is Quadrant documentation, which teaches you about vector embeddings and databases. Fourth is deep learning AI course, which is on AI agents in LangGraph. And fifth is long-term agentic memory with LangGraph. Obviously, all the links are in the description. Model context protocol, it's also a good thing to learn. It's like open standard for connecting AI systems to our data sources and tools. For this, I'm going to recommend this resource that you see on the screen. Last thing, and that's the thing that gets you hired, not certificates, projects. Now, I'm going to give you 3 free anchors here. First is Data Engineering Zoom Camp. It's genuinely free, 9-week course, 41,000 stars on GitHub, and it ends in a real world project, and everything is self-paced. And then the Data Engineering Wiki for when you get stuck. Build 3 projects. One batch pipeline, let's say you get a lot of data from flat files, CSVs, or some SFTP server somewhere, and you process it using Spark and upload it on S3 or some Redshift or Snowflake like database for reporting. Second is real time, where you use Kafka, Flink, process live events coming from real sources like APIs, and then aggregate or analyze them, or maybe do even something like a fraud detection if possible. And then third type of project is AI specific project, where you are powering an AI workflow or an AI agent and indexing a lot of documents. Basically, 90% of your work will still be data engineering because you're not building the model from scratch, you're just reusing what's out there. So your focus should still be on the data engineering side when you build AI project. Write a README that explains your trade-offs, your architectures, everything, put it on your GitHub, and then that goes into your resume. That also becomes the thing that you talk about in your interviews. Comment which level you are on right now. I read them, and if you're stuck somewhere, I'll try to unblock you. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And that's it from my side. See you next time.